Hey everyone, thank you so much for stopping by. And today we're finally at the last part, the water filters. That said, I may even add an extra added video, which some people ask me about ppm, those gauges, those low gauges that measure how much particles are in your water, and the pH meters. You know what? I got all those meters, and I will cover them. I'll explain them to see if they are useful and they are really what they say, and what do they really measure, if they should be used or not, or if you should worry about them. But I need to be in the kitchen to do that. I'm gonna wait for my daughter to bring me one of her filters, zero water, which is supposed to filter down the water to 0 ppms. And I'll explain it as I get to that part. But without any further ado, let's take a look at the water. Obviously, I'm talking about my town because I know what's going on with our water and where we take the water. I visited our water plant to take a look at the municipality water treatment center, to take a look at what and how they did it. They filtered our water. What were the stages in it? And yeah, I had quite a bit of questions for them to what is it really? Well, you know what? In Laval, we have the best water, I'd say, even across Canada, because our water plant is one of the newest ones. We don't even compare to the rest of Canada, but Quebec, in our country where we are right now, in our state, um, we do have a lot of other places which have great water, but that taste is good. But if you take a look at taste and water is not supposed to taste anything. And as for quality, we still have the perfect note and one of the best across our state of Quebec in Canada. That said, um, is it the best? I put in a lot of news clips in there. It doesn't mean that that you'll be able to see some of them because they might be fuzzy, because I kept them for so long, because I used to sell, we used to represent and sell water systems. And some of these clips I kept for ages. But Le Marais, Quebec et Laval. Yeah, see, in Quebec, we are the best water. And for years and years and on, we're still the best water in Quebec, in our state. This is what I went to our municipality, which gives me my water, and the water treatment center, and how so many stages are done in explanation within the 3 hour tour, explaining how they clear up the water, how they clean it up. The only stage in this that really, and I was allowed taking this picture, that according to them, but apart from that, we had to keep our cameras in the back room while we're walking through. We couldn't carry them with us. Was the stage number 3. uh, yeah, they take the water directly out of the river, which we know what's in there, and how they take these rotating grills and filter out the branches, leaves, and fish, and everything else that comes around. But once all the major parts are big, and I'm not going to go through the whole process because it'll take about an hour just to cover that and explain it. I'm just explaining the process that I found the most interesting was the coagulation part, where they spread that coagulation product in the water, and that product binds with everything that's solid into that water and just makes it bigger. And what they do, the next stage, is take fine sand and drop it into the water, and that sand obviously goes to the bottom. but it grabs onto those coagulation which are floating and just drops them on, the bottom. So they only take the water that's on top. But that was interesting. I mean, coagulation is what you use in Jello. It was interesting to know. Just thought I'd pass that by you. So that's basically municipality. By the time the water goes out, it's like 0.03 unities of factor per liter. It still got me to ask them a question which I wasn't answered, was how much is this type of unity that you allow to go by and then say, okay, this is ready to go in our our municipality and drinking water, because that's the safe zone, and we're way above everybody, and that's what the government allows. What's in those unities that you allow? Because you're allowing some stuff to go by, and you're telling me it's okay to drink water with that much unity of products inside, which are measured by infrared, with particles that are in the water. What are those particles that are in the water? Again, I did not get an answer for that. The reason why I have a filter, I'm not going to let the government tell me what is safe for myself. I'm going to determine that. But we have the best water almost out of Canada, and not even comparing to the States. So let's take a look. 2019, 8 billion liters of water, of contaminated water, was dumped into our water, our drinking water, because they couldn't filter it, and the filtration system, something wrong. Anyways, there's a whole story around that. Wow, we were starting to have some clean water, and this happened a few times. Not only once, but it happened a few times. Yeah, on the side I wrote 40 times the lead intake in water fountains at this kids' school. That's another subject, because I was getting asked a lot about that in my conferences. Basically, it's not the water system, it's the water pipes at the school, which are made out of leads because it's the old technology. What has to happen is everything that is are in the school that has lead has to be replaced. And you know how many millions of dollars that is? And they're letting it go by, but the drinking water that our kids used to drink at school has 40 times the lead in it. But it's not the municipality's fault. It's the school that was built with lead pipes that the water stays overnight and the kids drink the next day have. So I just want to clear that point. Yeah, what happens to our snow? All that snow that is picked up in the street that had all this chemicals shot on it so we don't slip. That's salt, whatever you call it. That gets picked up along with the snow. Underneath our car, the oil, everything that's in that snow gets picked up. That melts away and goes into our rivers, because most of the times these environments which they dump is close to water, and that goes into our drinking water. That has to be cleaned up. Another comment, which our water is not that inoffensive. Oh my God, what did they say? The firm. You know what? I'm going to skip this because this is around our place. Some of the stuff they found into water, which is not that good. Oh, we know that. Where am I? Where's that cursor? Okay. So, like I'm saying, I still don't believe personally that what they remove out of the water, and there's still some products left, and if there's any bacteria in there. Yeah, they say there isn't, because the chlorine that they put, the high amount of chlorine that they put, and you could smell that coming out of your tap water. And you know what, it's almost good that you do smell it. It's a good thing, because what you have to do is open the pot and put in your fridge for overnight, and it'll evaporate all the chlorine out of it, because chlorine absence without chlorine will, you have to ask yourself, is my water free of viruses and bacteria? With the chlorine smell, at least it's there to protect you. I'm not saying that's good to drink. Always let your water be evaporated first before you do drink it. But how about the heavy metals and the medication that this collagen, that they put into the water with the sand and all the treatments and the particles that they let go and say it's okay, it's within the standard. What about those? How much medication or heavy metals are in there, or chemicals? Again, twice last year in Quebec, Montreal dropped trillions of gallons of waste in the sewers. Wow. Interesting. Thank God we got a good cleaning system, good municipality cleaning system, water treatment. Here's what I found in the drinking water across Canada. In a magazine, Protégez-vous, it's in French, protect yourself. They went into, that's in 2003. That's when, we were selling water treatment systems and filters. I put my hand on one of these things that came out in perfect timing. 14 different purifying stations across Canada, Vancouver, Toronto, everywhere. And, what they found in the water. What our water contains is no surprise. Everybody's medications. We take in what's in excess, our body gets rid of it when we go and take a bio break. And yeah, we are full. You might not be able to read it, but it's like agent cardiovascular, psychotherapy treatments, hormones, anti, baby pills, and all that. The top 10 medications that are found in our water, and it just kept growing every year, because obviously the population looks like the population is getting sicker by the year, and there's medications going up exponentially. And medication going up exponentially means medication being dropped into our drinking water exponentially every year, because the quantity that's being sold in the drugstores. Yeah, here's a French thing, but it's saying like our drinking water is like a drugstore open a free open drugstore. It looks like sometimes we're just drinking other people's medication. This is what really freaked me out. And we got our water system, our water filter system years ago. Pathogens, pesticides are not the only medication, but there's also pesticides, pollutants, and the list goes on. Arsenics, mercury, and everything like that our water treatments try to get rid of, but still let that 0.3 to 0.3 particles pass by into the drinking water and are still noted as one of the best. Yeah, those are some of the pathogens that I talk about. That's a no picture. Sorry for the quality. Here's my filter. Tell you if our water in Laval, in Quebec, being one of the best is really the best. Well, when I weigh my filter, it's a pound new. That's my water filter. It's a very special carbon filter, which I'll explain a little bit later. It's good for 1 year or 5,000 liters. After that, it's recommended for not use, but recommended. It just stops. The filter stops if you exceed 5,000 liters, or it's a year. It starts buzzing, and it will stop functioning. But still, after 1 year, the filter weighs 2.5 pounds. Yeah, you'll say there's water in there and all that. Oh, yeah, maybe right. But I drill both ends, and I leave it there in the sun outside in my kitchen. Wife keeps telling me, "You're gonna pick it up?" Nope. Gonna pick it up? Nope. But I left it there for 6 months, and after 6 months, it was still 2.5 pounds heavier than the newer filter that we put in. All water, it was dry, crisp as a bone, so no water left in. Still 2.5, and that's after 5,000 liter. And they tell me that it's okay to drink my water, and that particles that they let go by is not dangerous, but still take 2.5. Let's just make sure I had an error in this and just take 2 pounds, and divide it among 4 people in the house. That means we're taking half a pound of chemicals, products, heavy metals, medication, half a pound. Think of it, half a pound of all that stuff, and we're drinking it. Hey, maybe copper, maybe magnesium, calcium, all that kind of stuff too. All that good stuff we need. But even though this filter lets magnesium and calcium go by because they know it's healthy. Interesting. Gives you something to think about. And we got the best water in Canada. Microplastic filtration. Remember my video about plastics in water bottles? Well, quick recap. 94% of tap water in North America contains microplastics. Nothing new. We all know that. Smallest microplastic found on tap water was about 2.5 microns. The normal countertop system, Brita, filters out 2 microns in size. So that means there's no microplastic that will go through that cheap carbon filter Brita. Just a cheap $30. The carbon filter Brita is able to filter out all the microplastics. It's good to know. This is all nice for now, but what happens in 5 years when our microplastic has gone smaller than 2.5 microns? Then these types of carbon filter like Brita won't be effective anymore unless they change their ways and make it better. And let's not forget the rest of the medication, which is probably smaller than 2 microns. Some of these products. How big is a micron? Let's go through it again. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. 1 inch on your ruler, as we could see. 1 inch, 2.54. 1 centimeter, okay, is 10 millimeters. 10 of these little bars between the 0 and the 1. How much is 1 millimeter? One of these is how many microns? Between each of these little bars is 1,000 microns. Now coming back, remember, how big is a human hair? 100 microns. 110. Varies from 75 to 120 to 125. But basically, human hair standard size is about 100 microns. A human cell inside your human red cell is 5 microns wide. That's small. Why do I get to that? Trust me, you'll need it. The tests in Protégez-vous calculated that every liter of water tested in 2002, the amount of medication could go up to 9.5 micrograms. And those values keep increasing because obviously population kept increasing also. Here are the stats, which won't be surprising. In 1998, okay, medication sold in our stores, in our drugstores, 84 million. By the time 2004 exponentially grew, it's like 171 million drugs sold in our store. Imagine at this time I'm doing the video, we're in 2020 and people are sicker than ever. Cancer is all over the place. 1 by 3 to 4 people almost. And now in kids. Could you imagine the amount of drugs that are in our water right now at this moment? Note these stats are for across Canada. We're 36 million as I speak now, give or take. And that's our population. Compared to the United States, which is 136 million and more, 10 times in about, I'd say, the area covered for people living, about 1.5 to 2 times, the size. That's a lot of medication in their water. Top medications that I was talking to you about before: cardiovascular, hormones, and all the rest going below. Yeah, that made me laugh. Psychogenetics agents, no surprise when I look at my neighbor next door. He moved. He's not there anymore, thank God. Micronutrients. Let's take a look at the micronutrients that we need. Let's say it was micronutrients in the water. Vitamins, minerals, trace elements. Just the trace elements. Which we need very, very, very small amounts, in our body that are required for our enzymes, our hormones. It's essential for life, put it that way. We need a few little quantity, or that very little quantity every day, for our hormones and enzymes and the rest of our body to work properly. Here's a list, okay? And you'll understand why I'm showing this. It's like if I take a look at copper, 900 micrograms. That is so little. Chromium, iodine, all the rest. These small quantities. Now, if they're coming into the water, and let's say in these amount, in that amount that I calculated, 2.5 pounds, if I'm wrong by 50%, I won't let you go through the math. I'll just say it out. If I'm wrong by 50% in the calculations that I did, that would amount to 389,000 milligrams. That's over 4,000% more copper, or more of these trace elements, that I would be drinking in my water every day. Every day. Something to think about. No wonder this society wonders why there's so much Alzheimer's and diseases out there. It's so easy to sell a filter in the time, and it's like, they go, tap water is good. They say it's good for you. There's no way. It's like, I'm okay with tap water, and that's okay. Okay, get me one of your glass of water. Okay. I dropped this piece of copper inside, and this muck, this solder muck in it. And I put a plate right over it so there's no dust that will cover in it. And I go, here, tomorrow, just take with a teaspoon, remove what it's in there, and you could drink the water. I'm not going to drink the water. Why would you not drink that water? Well, because if your solder muck in there and your copper, I don't want to drink that. It's going to be in your water all this time. I go, yes, so what do you think your tubing from your municipality filtration system comes in with, and in your house? That's when you see the jaw drop. And usually it's, how much does your filter system cost? It's so funny, because people don't think of that. It's like the water that's brought to your house at your doorstep is copper and soldered with the same muck that is in that glass of water. Different filters. We're finally there, guys. We're finally there. Osmosis system is far the best system that there is. Why? You know what? I will make a final video, or I'll just cut and paste another video into this video because I need to physically show you how osmosis works. But basically, osmosis is for most the best water filtration on the market out there at the moment. Yes, there are qualities out there, and trust me, there are qualities, and you really have to know what are the best filtration osmosis system, which I have at the end. I have them, and they could filter out and give you pure water. Simple as that. Pure water, perfect water with no medication, no heavy metals, no bacteria, no viruses, nothing in there. It's really pure water. Um, yeah, they did cost a lot at the beginning, and now they're starting to get in a better price range because it's easier to make the membrane, which before used to be very difficult to make little holes in a membrane, plate of membrane at uh, a size, which again, just telling you like that and not physically showing you how it works, it's so difficult. But we're talking about what? It's zero point 0.01, some go to 0.001 microns. I still have problems believing that. But yeah, if it could filter that much, it could filter out just pure water. Remember, hydrogen, oxygen, the size, the number of electrons around it, how they combine to make a water molecule, which has a certain size to it. Well, the one I use, and I'm not pushing it, it's not a filter I'm pushing it, it's just I bought it at the time because it was a lot less expensive than an Osmo system, which I would have probably gotten an Osmo system at that time. Filtration Basis 0.2 microns, which it's incredible, it's really nice, has a UV for viruses that are below the 0.2 microns to kill any viruses coming through. Okay, because anyways 0.2 microns, anything above that is you start getting bacteria, and those don't come through because they're getting filtered out, and it filters out about 140 different products and medication contaminants and heavy metals and whatever in there. It's a multi-stage. It's not like a simple carbon. It's a little bit more complicated than that. That particles do get stuck in a certain way, a certain size, and some go through. Okay. Yeah, it's much beyond ordinary. It's like almost like a honeycomb shape, kind of carbon, and that's what I love it because it filters out so many contaminants in there. At the simple carbon-based filters like the Brita, okay, that will filter out all the way up to about 2 microns. So it lets a lot go through, bacteria and all that kind of stuff will go through, but still, for the price, you pay for what you get. Simple carbon just jammed up into a filter and filters out your system, your water system, your tap water. Okay. Again, very useful for filtering out all plastics, which for now the smallest microplastic is 2.5 microns. So something to think about if you don't have the budget. Then there's zero water. You know what? I will save that one for the other extra video that I'm gonna show. These guys tend to show or make you believe that they have a reading of 0.0. There's no particles going through, and that Brita has 153. Tap water has 240. That's in the States because we don't have that down here in Canada. Bottled water has 50. But I will prove to you that, this is not all true. And that these gauges, these little gauges, they're not what they seem. Okay? Basically, if you have one, just give it to your kid and have fun with it because to me, it's nothing good. Top systems for reverse osmosis, if you do want to know, well, here's a list. I'm calling them one by one, trying to have them to give me a rebate code so I could offer you guys. So, if you see one in there that you want to get, but you don't see the code in the notes below in my YouTube, uh, writing description. It's because I wasn't able to reach them or nobody gave me a call back. Right now, the only one I think I do have was Cigna, which I have a rebate code, which I'll put a link into it, which you could use that, or it's Aqua True Water. I apologize to them if I chose the wrong one, but I do have one, and I think they give you like they give you a good discount on it if you buy a system. So those who are ready to buy a system and move forward, well, you could always use this link to go move forward on there. Reverse osmosis is something to think about if you're not using tap water from your municipality. Because if you have your well water and you have a quantity of water and you don't want, you're afraid your well water may grow dry if you use it a lot, you're not using a pool or anything like that, you want to be careful in the water you're using, Not to forget reverse osmosis, the way it works, sometimes a good reverse osmosis will go through 5 liters of water to get 1 liter of water, which means it's only 20% effective, because most of the water molecules that will hit that membrane, which again I will do in my extra video, just hit the membrane and just slide off, because there may not be enough pressure, water pressure, in your well water pump, pumping it towards your house. There are some reverse osmosis that will be 75% effective. 75% effective, meaning using 4 liters used to create 3 liters. Yes, that's nice, but they may not filter as much as one of those high efficient reverse osmosis. They will filter out, but they may not filter as much. That's all I have to say, because if 3 liters are able to go through, the holes on your membrane may just be a lot bigger. And that's something to think about. Again, people, if you found this information useful, please do share. Help out somebody who wants to understand how filtration works, the types of filters out there, and like, subscribe, hit that bell to see more of my videos, like the extra videos. I have to wait for that zero water filter from my daughter to bring it back to me, and I will explain all this about PPNs and how a membrane works with reverse osmosis, so you better understand what it is. Have yourself all a great day.